Welcome back to the Digital Revolution with Jim Kunkle. Today, we're stepping directly into one of the biggest identity shifts that's happening in global business operations, a shift that's redefining what companies expect from their partners, their technology, and their talent. For more than 2 decades, business process outsourcing, or BPO, has been the backbone of how organizations scale support, manage operations, and extend capability. But the truth is, BPO, as we know it, is no longer enough. The demands on modern businesses have changed. Customer expectations have changed, the speed of digital transformation has changed, and intelligent technologies are rewriting the rules of what outsourcing even means. We're entering into a new category, business transformation outsourcing, where the goal isn't just to add headcount or offload tasks, it's to fundamentally elevate how a business operates. It's about AI-powered workflows, operational intelligence, multilingual global talent, elastic workforce models, and partners who don't just execute processes, they help reshape them. And that's why today's conversation is so important. My guest is Adam O'Connor. He's a Chief Revenue Officer at Conectys, one of the companies leading this shift from traditional outsourcing to true transformation. Adam has had a front row seat on how AI, automation, agentic systems, and globally distributed talent are converging to create a new operating model for CX, trust and safety, content moderation, and digital operations. He understands what companies are asking for now. He sees how expectations have evolved, and he knows what it takes to build an outsourcing partnership that doesn't just support a business, it accelerates it. Adam, welcome.
Hey, Jim, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Hopefully I can give you some answers and let your audience know a little bit about the industry and what's happening and where it's heading. So I've been working in the BPO industry for just over 15 years and seen from the very sort of beginnings to where we are now and everything in between. So hopefully we can dive in a little bit deeper as we go along.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation and in doing a research, and I really learned a whole lot, and I'm looking to learn more by having a great conversation with you. Let's open up and talk about why legacy BPO models, why they're breaking down. When we look at traditional BPO value proposition, we're looking at cost savings, we're looking at scaling labor, but why are these leverages no longer really key in 2026?
Yeah, the whole BPO industry has been built around cheaper talent around the globe being commoditized into companies. The BPOs themselves see the relationship as the amount of people that they can put into a company increases their revenue. If you think about it logically, it's kind of a paradox because the better you do the job, the less people you need within that business. So your revenue as a BPO would drop. And if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, you want to keep your customers happy, you want to do as well as you can, but by doing the best business you can, you're actually eating into your own revenue and profit margins as a BPO. So something has to change. AI has come in. We've had some shifts within the BPO industry, and it's always been, oh, we're going to kill the BPO industry. First, it was cloud, then it was all of these things. And the internet coming along made it accessible around the world. Cloud made you be able to give people in other countries or other destinations, whether that be nearshore or offshore, access to information within your business. So looking for the cheapest seats, the cheapest labor you could get to do a great job allowed you to do things that you wouldn't be able to do within a business normally. You might be able to do extended hours, you might be able to do 24/7, and you may be able to find languages that you couldn't find. The problem is, as I said, AI has come into things. Every CEO that I speak to in any way wants AI within their business. They're not always 100% sure where they want AI in their business, but it's almost like when the internet and the World Wide Web first came out and everybody says, oh, it's going to die, it's a fad. But I don't think any of your listeners or me or you could imagine a world without the web and looking something up online, going back to the phone books and trying to find phone numbers and things like this. We're in a revolution. The old BPO model, where you find as many people as you can to do the job offshore or a different thing, doesn't work anymore. It's been overused. And I think if your outsourcing partner is only making more money when you need more people, you have to ask yourself if they're incentivized to make your business better or just to get as much money as they can out of you. So I think that's where the shift's coming from. So
Yeah, it's probably fair to say that, the shift is moved from, do the work cheaper to, help transform, how work gets done. Is that a fair assessment?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, global talent and labor arbitrage they're no longer differentiators. Everyone could do it. When I first started in the industry all those years ago, it was really for sort of the large, big companies that used to have their call centers in India, in the Philippines, in wherever. And as we've gone along the journey, more and more small to medium businesses are finding accountants in the Philippines or in Eastern Europe or in Africa, and leveraging the skills around the world for less money. But it's clients aren't coming to you just looking for people anymore. They're bringing you problems. They're bringing you things, and they want help in understanding how to make their business better as well. So 10 years ago, I'd get a phone call and say, right, I want 50 customer service agents. I want them to be able to speak English and Chinese, for example. Find them for me, give me a price, away you go. Now they come to me and they say, we want to solve this problem. We're at the moment we're doing this amount of calls. How can we go about doing this in the right way? Can we leverage AI chatbots? Can we leverage AI voice bots? Can we leverage certain things to make it better? And that's why I think the pricing within the BPO industry is moving away from per resource sitting on a seat and to an outcome-based pricing. So the better I do for you, the better we all win. Your business improves, you get better service, I get better margin, the more that we resolve on a first call basis. So yeah, that's kind of where I see it going and what I think is happening and why I think it's breaking. So
Yeah. Let's move to talk about defining business transformation outsourcing. A BTO as a category, it's not just executing process. There's re-engineering, there's automating, there's scaling. What else goes into business transformation outsourcing today?
If we look at the difference between BPO and business transformation outsourcing first, in the BPO industry, somebody comes along to you with the problem, as we said, and wants to do it as efficiently and as cost effectively as they can. With the business transformation outsourcing, they come to you and ask, what should this process become? So we take that and we assess what humans should do, what AI should do, what should disappear entirely, where do we need some elasticity, where does judgment matter? Because there's certain things, no matter how far we go along with AI implementing, that humans are better. AI is fantastic at certain things, humans are fantastic at certain things, and I think together they can both achieve much more than either one of them singly. So working through that, and transformation starts when you stop assuming the existing process is the be all and end all. When you start looking at the process from a holistic view, you see where you could improve as a business, rather than just because this has always been the way that it's been done before. We now have the new tools that can make people more efficient, more cost effective. You've got translation tools. You can have somebody sitting in Poland whose first language is Polish and German, but they could use translation to be able to be speaking 4 or 5 different languages, dealing with all of the different customers. Whereas before you would need 4 or 5 different people to handle that with the language skills. Now you've got the ability to do things there. I think it's a step-by-step process in business transformation as well. I don't think somebody comes in and I say, right, Jim, I'm going to take your 50 people, I'm going to give you 5 people, and you have to go along the process. You have to work with the customer. You have to make sure that whatever you're putting in is better than what it was before. You have to be very honest and say, okay, I don't think this is going to work. It's not about trying to do this. Together, you raise the bar. You find where you can get the best outcomes for everybody. And that's what business transformation outsourcing is all about. There's also other things that go into it. We have a gig platform as well. So if you're an e-commerce store and you sell flowers and chocolates, Valentine's Day is going to be one of your biggest peaks, but you're not going to want an additional 100 people for the rest of the year. So within traditional BPO models, you have very hard flexibility to ramp up, ramp down, and things like that. With a gig economy, you can go and find the people for a certain period of time, add them in. If you need a certain language just for a few days, a few months, you can do that as well. So there's lots of different elements, and we work on different elements within that to really bring the change and disruption together within the industry. And I think the people adding on AI as a bolt-on to existing processes, I don't think they're going to survive the next 5 years. I think it's a big change across the industry. So
Definitely a big change. Looking at BTO as a co-creation model and having those shared goals that you talked about. When it comes to KPIs, key performance indicators, how can KPIs be basically baked into modern and future BTO?
You still use the same KPI. So you're still looking at customer satisfaction scores. You're still looking at what you're doing with things. You make sure that, again, you don't let an AI process or a process automation just run by itself. You need checks and balances in there, and you need to make sure that the KPIs are going through correctly. So you work together with the customer. You understand what their current process is producing, what their current in APIs are doing, and you make sure that everything that you're doing is improving that. So if you give me an old API like an average handling time or a QA quality score, QA normally would touch maybe 5%, 10% of the calls that are going on, give you a score on it. Now with AI, you can actually QA 100% of that score, but you need a human to double check that the AI QA is doing it all correctly. So altogether, you improve the score across the whole board instead of just a small section that you're focusing on. AI is fantastic at the amount of things that it can do, the speed that it can do it, but it's never going to have empathy. It's never going to have what's that humans can do. It's never going to have an understanding of niche situations. So making sure that we balance those together and KPI both the AI side and the human side is how we make sure that we improve the business throughout the BTO. And I think that's going to continue evolving. I think the legacy KPIs that BPOs have used for it are going to shift a lot in terms of what you can produce. And I think the pricing model moving from a per resource price to an outcome-based price is going to affect the KPIs as well and improve customer experience.
Yeah, when we look at artificial intelligence, AI really is a catalyst for transformation. Let me ask you, related to the Conectys, what are some of the native AI capabilities that Conectys operates and provides?
So we have bots, we have voice bots, we have a special content moderation bot that checks everything and makes sure that everything's going there. We have translation tools, we have AI QA, as I said, that could do 100% of calls rather than just a subsection that humans normally do. We have Tyson, which helps us work. We have co-workers. So if you've got an agent who's on a customer service, first line of defense is a voice bot, that the co-worker will actually come up with the script of what's happened with the customer already. You know exactly what you're walking into. You can understand the nuance that the AI didn't. You can get something fixed a lot quicker. You also have customers who don't want to speak to AI. They want to speak to a human straight away. So it'll tell you that, and it'll give you the evaluation of what's going on, allowing the agent to get to the resolution a lot quicker than it would by going through that. We have some other things as well, and we're developing a lot more. As the capabilities move along, we're developing in-house ourselves as well. So
there's so much fear out there that AI is replacing everybody. Obviously, with Conexus, what you're really doing is you're augmenting, you're enhancing what the capability of the human worker is. How important is it to have that message out there that as a company or utilizing AI, that we're actually augmenting and not totally replacing everyone?
I think it's really important, Jim. And as I touched upon before, I don't think that AI by itself can do all of the tasks. It can't understand empathy. It can't understand trust. It can't build relationships. It can't do things. Humans can be superpowered to in a context with AI attached and augmenting them. I think that it gives them the capability to do things that they couldn't do before. I think some of the low level tasks and roles that were done before will shift. I think that we'll see a shift in some of the jobs that we find in BPOs and other industries as well. And I think we've already seen some companies try to go full AI and then roll back and have to pay 20% more to hire their staff back than they were before because they jumped too soon. And I think human in the loop is so important, whatever you're doing. If you hear the horror stories, you see the horror stories, somebody said to Claude or ChatGPT or an AI agent that they built, I want to do this, look after my Google ads, and they come back and they've got a $10,000 bill because it's gone off and said, I thought this would be the best. Without having that human in the loop, without having the design process, without having a company like Conectys who ISO certified within AI to do AI responsibly, you're really playing with things and understanding. So I think that workers need to understand that they need to get on board with AI as quickly as possible because it's not going to replace them. What it will replace is the people that fight against it and don't upskill themselves in making sure that they can do 5 times what they could do 5 years ago because AI gives them that superpower. So.
Yeah, superpowers. One thing that fascinated me when I was researching Conexus is the the multilingual gig workforce. Could you tell a little bit about that, and also too talk about that, its ability to, rapidly scale up and down, it's basically available, you have even built into it, if I understand correctly, cultural nuances and also digital agility as well. I was so fascinated when I was really kind of researching that aspect of the company.
So the gig platform gives you talent. So essentially it works as a marketplace. If you think about, let's say, eBay, for example, you have a seller who sells their product, you have a buyer who comes to eBay to buy it, and eBay puts the two together to do it. So the Kaboo, our gig platform, allows people around the world with skills that don't necessarily want to work in a BPO, don't necessarily want to be full time, looking for some part time work, have the skills available to apply onto the platform and work on that platform. And then the customer comes along, Jim comes along and says, I'm looking for 5 software developers to help me develop XYZ. I want them to have German. I want them to be able to speak Filipino. I want them to be able to speak Japanese, and I want them to be able to speak something else. What you then do, you put the ad up on the gig platform, and then it matches with the people who have applied there, and allows you to come together and work it. That's really, really powerful. As I touched upon before, if you're in e-commerce, if you're looking for a short gig, it's very difficult to find a BPO that can do a 1 month contract, a 2 month contract, 14-day spike of an extra 50 staff, customer service staff, because it's Black Friday and I need to get everything sorted out. This allows you to find similar talent at a similar cost, use them as you need to. It lets the people earn a bit of extra money from their day-to-day job. It lets you work the hours that you want to, get the voice capability, the language capability, the skill capability, and bring that all together. So that's essentially what we've built on, what we're doing.
So your customers have different, different types of platforms out there. It could be anything from, like you said, retail. It could be a fintech, for on the financial side and things like that. When it comes to trust, safety, and compliance, how does Conectys work in relation to all the different global regulations and also to compliance related mandates that are out there?
We work with some of the biggest social media companies in the world, some of the biggest gaming companies in the world. We look after the platforms, we look after the content that people are saying, we look for hate speech, we look for bullying, we look for these things. We work on the images, we make sure that the content that people are putting up are correct and not anything illegal or against policy. And AI can come into that as well, Jim. So I'll give you a story. A little while ago, not within Conectys, within another company I was working, we were using AI for a social media company, and it was clicking the images that were coming through for each person. And it flagged an image of a dad hugging his son as possible being in breach of laws within the US. The person was actually banned, and it had to be raised to a human to understand this, a dad hugging his son, rather than it being something a little bit more serious than that. AI's come a long way since then and identifying things, but these are the kind of things that the amount of images that AI can process compared to a human is 10 times, 100 times as much, but it still doesn't catch that nuance of it being a family relation and there's nothing untoward going there. It's just got these guardrails and things. So as we move along and it gets more powerful, more understanding, we can use that to make sure that we're doing the volumes that are needed. But that human in the loop element over the top there makes sure that it does things as well. But also the trust and safety, content moderation, data labeling as well. We do a lot of data labeling for AI companies, image labeling, and making sure that AI companies are training models. We do a lot of work on that in the background as well. And every company has to think more and more about trust and safety as we work along the road that we're going in. It's so easy with manipulation of images, with deep fakes, with all of these things that are happening now. You've got to be aware of your online presence. You've got to understand what is happening online about you and rumors. I mean, AI is great in a way. It helps us do 100 times more, but the more powerful AI gets, the more powerful the issues can become as well, if that makes sense. I mean, we've seen lots of deep fakes and lots of fake videos and all kinds of things happening through AI that need to be fixed and moderated to make sure that everything is legal and correct that's going on there. And that's a lot of the work that we do. So
Yeah, it's super critical. It's super important, especially as technology really advances. Recently I did an episode regarding voice cloning when they're doing basically social engineering using voice cloning, and you think you're talking to one of your loved ones, and you're not. You're talking to an AI replication of the voice. When it comes to business outcomes related to transformation, what it actually delivers, some of the things that I see is that, there's been a move from the cost savings to more measurable business outcomes. And what I mean by that is we're starting to see, faster time to value, higher customer satisfaction. We're seeing a reduction in operational friction, which is super critical as well. Business compliance. I think everyone is in a better foot when it comes to dealing with the different international requirements out there, but also national compliance as well. And then being a scalable digital operation. So let me ask you this. Why BTO? Why is it becoming the new standard for global brands today?
I think because it needs to understand the nuances between different geographies, different rules, different laws. I mean, even within the States, if you have a look within the States, the laws in California are completely different from the laws in Pittsburgh. Then you look at the EU. If you're a business and you touch the EU laws apply to you. And a lot of people don't know that. And in terms of the personal identification and things like that, it's all, everybody can be held accountable. And the fines that are coming out because of GDPR and things like this are doubling year on year. And just because you're located in the States, if some of your customers are based in the EU, or other countries as well, not just the EU, but based in the EU, we use an example, you have to comply by the EU laws, otherwise you can be fined. And a lot of companies tend to think, oh, I'm in Pittsburgh, I don't need to worry about GDPR, but that's not the case at all. And using a company that understands those nuances and makes sure that everything's going through with the business transformation outsourcing saves you a lot of hassle and hopefully a lot of money from fines and things that you wouldn't know before. So I think it's really important as well. It's not just the regulations around it, it's also the cultural nuances. Some things that we would take as a joke, other cultures don't take it in. Some ways that other cultures deal with customer service and the way that they talk to people and what's expected of different things aren't the same. If we look just in day-to-day life, the tipping culture within the US compared to the tipping culture in Australia, say, is completely different. So these are the kind of cultural nuances that certain people within businesses don't have and don't know. And it's our job to understand all of these things and allow businesses to know this. So
Yeah. To close out the episode, I want to talk about the future of business transformation outsourcing and have you pull out your crystal ball right now and give everyone who's listening a preview of what you see in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years.
I wish I had a crystal ball, Jim. I could be a very rich man if that was the case. But I guess if I'm guessing, I would say work will be dynamically routed between AI agents, automation, humans, permanent humans as well. I mean, I don't think that AI is going to replace, as I touched upon within it. I think you're going to have a lot of gig specialists as well. So people who come in to do certain tasks. And I really think that we're going more and more global and global talent's really, really important for where we're going. I mean, COVID was a terrible thing, but what it made everybody realize is that we can work remotely, we can do things efficiently. And if you can work remotely within the same city, why can't you work remotely around the world and get things done at better things? And there might be a customer service agent in Africa who is better suited for your business than the one who is in your hometown. Looking at all that, I think AI will understand intent. It will read history. It will attach sentiment to what's going on. I think it will start evaluating risk. It will tell everybody what's going on. And I think that augmentation will come down. But I think the big thing that will happen that I'm still waiting to happen is that systems will start talking to each other. I think if you look at businesses at this moment in time, everybody has all of these great systems, but they're all siloed into their own category. And I think the person who comes up with a system that talks to everything and brings everything together, which is something that we're trying to do as well, will be the ones that win. So that's kind of where I'm seeing AI, humans, BTO going in the next 3 to 5 years. That gives you a little bit of a a sense. So
Yeah, I really think that the winners are going to be the companies that really combine, you said it, the human side of it, augmenting the human, adding in advanced AI intelligence as it continues to evolve. Also, too, you're going to have operational excellency. And as you mentioned, with the remote aspect and really interconnectedness of the world today, I mean, you can be connected to someone on the other side of the planet in a millisecond, it's just that quick. So having that global scalability. So in kind of closing out the episode, some of the call of action that I would have for business leaders is that leaders really need to rethink outsourcing as a transformation lever and shift from the mindset of it as a vendor more to a co-creator partnering with this. And I think this is the moment for a lot of companies to really look at modern BTO and adopt that and look to incorporate that within their companies as well. Final insights from you, Adam. Anything else on really how companies can really begin their journey in this transformation?
I think that leaders need to start thinking more about what the business problem is, not just the technology. I mean, AI is the buzzword. Every leader within business wants AI within their business, but I think they need to have a look at what is the problem that we're trying to solve? What can we do better? AI is an amplifier. If you've got the best processes, the best people in the world, AI is going to amplify them out to do things that you've never been able to do before. But if you try to put AI on a bad process or a bad situation, it's going to amplify that and it's going to break faster. So I think don't ask where you can deploy a chatbot. Ask where the friction exists. Ask where you can fix this. Ask where you can find experts in BTO to come in and help you and do an evaluation and say to you, okay, this is the plan for the next 2 years where we get to the optimal point. Let's not jump in feet first and ruin everything and get people scared about what we're doing. Let's do it gradually and make sure that everybody comes on that journey with us. Let's make sure that Bob, who works in customer service, has that AI element to help him do that. Let's make sure that we find the right person in the Philippines to help you extend your hours. Let's do all of this. And I think that's where businesses are going. I think that's where business process outsource is going. And I think it's a really exciting time because I think businesses are going to be able to do things that they've never been able to do before, but they have to do it the right way, Jim. And I think finding the right partner like Conectys is the way to do it. So I really appreciate you having me here and letting me talk my little talk. So I hope it was insightful for you.
It was definitely. I learned so much more, and you even opened my eyes even wider. So I appreciate that. Everyone, I will have Adam's contact information. Also, I will have a link for Conectys as well. Please feel free to reach out to Adam and Conectys and talk about again this transformation and taking advantage of where we're at today and where we're going to be in the future, because this is really important for your business operations. Adam, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jim. Really appreciate the time. Thank you.